with those new legal and ethical questions being raised about whether former President Trump may be trying to influence witness testimony related to the House Select Committee's January 6 investigation. According to the New York Times, Trump's Save America PAC and his allies have paid for or promised to finance the legal fees of more than a dozen witnesses who have been called in to testify. Financial disclosures show in May alone, Trump's Save America PAC paid about $200,000 to different law firms. The Times notes more than a dozen witnesses also have received free legal advice and had attorney fees paid for by the American Conservative Union's First Amendment Fund, which consults with Trump's team about whose fees to cover. That is according to Matt Schlapp, the organization's chairman. As we have learned, the House Select Committee asked witnesses whether anyone has tried to influence their testimony. But unlike witness tampering, which of course is a crime, there is nothing illegal about a third party covering legal fees for a witness. Meanwhile, Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney defended her work on the January 6th committee during a primary debate last night, while her top opponent defended Donald Trump. 5 candidates took the stage in Sheridan, Wyoming, including Cheney and the Trump-backed Harriet Hageman. Recent polls show Cheney facing a big uphill battle in her re-election bid after she was outcast by Republican leadership in Washington for refusing to go along with the big lie and for co-chairing the January 6th commission. The former president's false claims about a stolen election and Cheney's work to refute them both were on the agenda during last night's debate.
People need to know something about me. I will never put party above my duty to the country. I will never put party above my duty to the Constitution. There's a real tragedy that's occurring, and the tragedy is that there are politicians in this country, beginning with Donald Trump, who have lied to the American people. The truth matters. And the claims that Mrs. Hageman is making about the 2020 election are the same claims for which the president's lead lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, was disbarred.
We're not a democracy, we're a republic. Our republic is not in danger because of President Donald J. Trump. President Trump was an excellent president for the United States of America and especially for the state of Wyoming. The threat to our republic really comes from other sources, including the fact that right now we're seeing that we have 2 different systems of justice in this country, where we have one system of justice where you have people like Hunter Biden or Hillary Clinton or even Joe Biden who are not accountable or held accountable for the decisions and the bad acts that they undertake.
So Eugene Robinson, Harriet Hageman there, who is leading most polls, some of them by a sizable margin, though there's still some time here before the people of Wyoming go out to vote in that primary, standing and defending Donald Trump there, drawing a equivalence to Hillary Clinton, which, of course, in this case, given what we've heard just in the last week alone, is laughable. We heard something similar in Arizona 2 nights ago in the governor's debate there, where you have a candidate standing and defending Donald Trump. Liz Cheney, as we've said many times, is just point blank putting her career on the line by doing what she's been doing over the last year and a half or so, and she doesn't seem bothered by that.
No, she's not. I mean, she knew the job was dangerous when she took it. I mean, she knew what she was getting into when she stood up for truth instead of Donald Trump. And she knew that this would make it very difficult for her to get reelected in Wyoming because the Republican base is still with Donald Trump, and it's it's unclear at this point whether that's Trump leading the base or the base leading Trump. I mean, it's at some point you have to look at those voters, and in the face of mountains and mountains of truth revealed not just by the January 6th committee but by events over the last 6 years about Donald Trump, who he is, what a danger he presents to our democracy, to our republic, to whatever you want to call it, and the Republican base is unfazed by that because they want what Trump continues to sell. And so this is going to be very difficult for Liz Cheney. Now there's some slippage. Trump is seeing some slippage among big donors. Obviously, some leading Republicans are getting nervous about the idea of him still essentially being in charge of the party, and right now the likely candidate in 2024. We'll see about that. But it's tough for Liz Cheney. She maybe she can convince enough Democrats to cross over and vote in the Republican primary and give her a boost. But she's got a real uphill climb.
Yeah, there's one poll, Caddy K, that has Hagman up by 30 points or so on Liz Cheney. But as Gene said, that gap has closed in the last couple of weeks. But it's still, obviously, she's running like the underdog. She's running like she's the challenger here. It remains extraordinary, though, that you can sit and listen to the testimony that we've heard over the last 3 weeks or so in front of this January 6th committee, some of it just in black and white about what the president did in and around January 6th, and still be able to stand on a stage, defend what he did, and then go and look yourself in the mirror that night or say, good night to your children with a clear conscience, truly. But it's what you have to do still to win these primaries in most Republican races.
Yeah, I just spent some time out in Wyoming talking to people, both supporters and detractors of Liz Cheney's. And it's been so interesting on this trip I've done around America over the last month. I, as you're suggesting, Willie, thought that this was entirely cynical, that people were using the idea that the election was stolen just to try and curry favor with Donald Trump. Having spoken to people in Wyoming for a week, I think people genuinely believe it. I mean, I think when you raise a point, as Liz Cheney did, that, whatever the point is, no, the election was not stolen. Rudy Giuliani was disbarred. There is always, as we heard in that clip, a comeback. Harriet Hagman saying, oh, well, Hunter Biden wasn't investigated. But people are fervent in their belief that Donald Trump won the 2020 election in Wyoming, those I spoke to, and they are really opposed to Liz Cheney. Now, most people there agree that there will be some Democrats, and I interviewed one who said she was going to hold her nose and vote for Liz Cheney in the poll box because she had never voted Democrat in her life, but this time around it was that important because it's an open state and you can vote either way. And so they think her numbers will probably get up to about 30 or 40%, perhaps. It'll be closer than it's looking at the moment. But the degree to which Liz Cheney has sacrificed her political career by going on the January the 6th committee, by voting to impeach Donald Trump, is pretty clear out there. It would be remarkable if she managed to be re-elected, and she is fully cognizant of that. And it's one thing to stand up in Washington and talk about the January 6th committee's work and Donald Trump trying to steal the election. It's a very another thing to do it in Wyoming at the moment, where the mood against her is so powerful.